This week on the Geo Habari podcast.
I am on scholarship, the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, and my consortium is called the Copernicus Master in Digital Earth. It's a mobility program, so that means you get to study in more than one country. And so far, I have studied in Austria and now almost done in my second year here in France.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Geo Habari podcast. I'm your host Yariwo Kitio, and this week I have Leila, and Leila is going to take us through the Erasmus program, which is a European Union program. So this is a series that we've been running. This is the second episode actually of the Studying Abroad series. But before we get into the episode, maybe Leila, do you mind introducing yourself to the audience?
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Leila Maritim. I am a Kenyan student here at the University of South Brittany in France. I am on scholarship, the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, and my consortium is called the Copernicus Master in Digital Earth. It's a mobility program, so that means you get to study in more than one country. And so far, I have studied in Austria and now almost done my second year here in France. I have a background in geospatial engineering, and that is what I'm pursuing now also.
Thanks, Leila. We are happy to have you. Do you mind giving us like a brief background of what led you to getting into this particular program? Maybe what you were doing before your university, what you did for your undergraduate, and then gradually how did you get into the Erasmus program?
Okay, so my undergraduate was in geomatic engineering at JKUAT. I think after my undergraduate, I was not so sure about a master's, but I got into the industry, worked for a while, and then it got to a point of I felt like I needed to expand my skill set to keep up with the dynamic geospatial world. So after interacting with like so many people who do interesting stuff in the GIS world, I was like, oh well, maybe I also need to learn a few of the skills. And so I looked, I don't know, I think it was on LinkedIn that I came across this particular program. Well, I had heard about the Erasmus Scholarship, so I knew there's a number of programs, and I also knew that there was a number of geospatial programs that would be sponsored by Erasmus. But when I came across this particular one, it just ticked everything that I wanted. The first time I couldn't apply because I did not have everything that was needed. So I prepared. That year I decided to get all my documents in order, and I was like, I would apply that. Then I applied the next year, and I was taken as part of the intake for cohort. So it was through LinkedIn that I came across this program.
When did you finish your undergraduate at JKUAT, the geomatic engineering?
2018. So I have worked for a while. I graduated in 2018 November and then worked until 2022. And so last year is when I started the master's here.
Do you mind taking us through sort of maybe like a brief intro of the Erasmus program, and then maybe get into the particular program that you're currently doing, what that is and what that entails?
The Erasmus Mundus. It's several programs funded by the European Union, mostly for international students and also for European students, because we have Erasmus students who come maybe just a semester, like a student studies, say, in Spain, and they want to do a semester in Austria, for example. That mostly caters for the European students. So in a bid to enhance like cohesion amongst the different nations, and also that interactivity between the different students. Probably the same program is offered in a different country, but the way they teach and some of the things that they teach will be different, or also a way to interact with different cultures. So that is how it works. And then for the international students, now we have this also, it's Erasmus Mundus, but in this case you have, I think it also varies, because some programs you would only do a semester in one country and move. So you'd have to study for the duration of your studies. You would probably have gone to 4 countries in some cases. But in my case, and in most cases, it's usually 2 countries. Okay, so you'd find that 3 universities collaborate to offer a program. They get funding from the European Union, and students apply, of course. And then, so usually there is the first university where all students start their studies, and then the other universities will depend on the specialization that you choose. So like in the Copernicus, for example, the first university we went to is the University of Salzburg in Austria. So we were about 21 people or 20, I'm not so sure of the exact number. So 9 of us specialized in geodata science, and that's why we are here in France at the University of South Brittany. And then the rest went to the University of Olomouc in the Czech Republic, where they specialize in geovisualization and geocommunication.
I'm trying to understand the program that you're doing. When I went to their website, I saw like they're specific on like the mobility program and you studying in different countries, which is pretty interesting. And so I wanted to know like for the program that you're doing, so you're doing a Copernicus program.
The program is called Copernicus Master in Digital Earth. Within the Erasmus Mundus, we have this consortia, sort of a group of universities that collaborate together to offer a program. So in my case, mine is the Copernicus Master in Digital Earth. Then I think there's also the GEM one, which is I think more popular, or like I know many people who know more of GEM than they know of my program. Yeah, so that's also another one. And then there's another one now, Geospatial Technologies. I think that is a program in the countries, I think Spain, Portugal, and Germany. Yeah, so you could find several programs that cater for the GIS students, just that they are under different consortia in different countries, and their curriculum is different, but generally it's in the same field.
What separates the programs is the different fields you might pick and also the different consortiums that offer the different courses, which essentially are like different universities coming together.
Yeah. I think what normally happens is they apply for funding from the European Union. So in our case, we were the last intake with the first funding that they had got. So we were the last ones, but they got funding again recently. So that's why they're going to be taking a new intake from next year. So that they currently have a call for application for next year's. So the first group of the second cohort, something like that, because the first cohort was like 4 intakes.
So you were in the first cohort.
Yeah, first cohort, intake 4. Yeah.
You mentioned like you had to get your documents ready for the program. So there's the requirements and then there's also now the different intake periods. I think that would be interesting for the audience to understand. But before we get into that, I wanted to know, before you got into the Copernicus program in digital art, were there other options you looked at within still the Erasmus program, or from the get-go, as soon as you looked at it, you were like, okay, I'm not fishing anymore. This is what I'm settling for.
Okay, so from the get-go, I like the first time I saw it, it ticked everything that I wanted.
Do you mind talking about some of the check boxes you looked at and you are like, this is the course I'm settling for?
Yeah, so I was looking at the curriculum. Especially, I was interested more in the data science as the specialization, the geodata science. Yeah, when I looked at the curriculum here in France, we have a lot of machine learning, deep learning, a lot of high performance computing. So I was like, this is interesting, because it's not like it's things that I knew a bit of some things, but there were other things I was like, maybe I should. Felt like it would be a good challenge to take upon myself. That was the reason I went for that. But again, I was like, let me not put all my eggs in one basket. And then I applied to the geospatial technologies. You can only apply to a maximum of, I think, 2 years. But I think they usually like tell you some part of the like instructions. They will tell you that you're not allowed to apply for, I think it's a maximum of 2 programs. But then I also applied to the DAAD scholarship in Germany. I also applied to the University of Twente ITC. What is the name of the scholarship? It's Twente.
Is it the Orange Knowledge? I know Charlene mentioned about the Orange Knowledge program.
Yes. I applied to that one, but I didn't get it.
When did you do the application? Maybe we can talk about the open seasons for this application.
So anybody who's interested, and I would recommend, call for application is on. So it opened on the October 25th to December 20th. So there's still time. Also in my time when I was applying, I think that was also the duration that we had, because I remember submitting it on the 24th. I submitted it like a few days to the deadline on the 24th of December of 2021. That's when I submitted mine. If you have a passport, you have your degree certificate. But again, I have to say that they allow final year students to apply. You don't have to already have your bachelor's degree, so long as you're sure that you're going to graduate before school starts next year. So that's before October. So, well, it would be better if you have your degree certificate before then. So if you're sure that you're gonna graduate, say if it's JQuat, for example, you're gonna graduate in June, well, go for it, apply it. Yeah. I actually have a classmate who finished his bachelor's and immediately started his master's. It's quite interesting because for me, after my bachelor's, I was like, oh, I'm tired of school. But yeah, it's really interesting meeting like different people with like the way they view things is a bit different and stuff. So yeah, it's been nice. And then with regards to the documents that you need, the application process is pretty much easy because I know usually the process of applying, especially when it comes to writing application letters, motivation letters, can be a bit of a challenge. But in this case, you provided a form online, so there's an application portal, and your motivation basically would be you would be asked a few questions that you have to write something. So that would be your motivation for the program. And then for Kenyan students, for example, you don't need an English exam. So all you need is just a letter from your uni to show that your undergraduate program was taught in English. So I think there's a couple of African countries also that are exempted from having to take an English test. So that makes life easier. You would also need some recommendation letters, 2 of them. So yeah, you can reach out to people who you know would put out a good word for you. Oh yeah, obviously you need your passport. I think the first time I couldn't apply is because I didn't have a passport.
Because I remember in the previous episode, Charlene had mentioned that for ITC, and she couldn't apply, both of them could not apply into ITC without a passport. Is that the case here? You need a passport as well, or?
No. You need to have a passport because I remember the first time I couldn't apply because I did not have that was the only thing I had missing. So I didn't have a passport. So you need to have your passport. Basically, that is the document they use for your identification.
The document they required that caught you off guard in terms of, oh, I didn't expect this.
It was pretty much the usual, like just the recommendation letter, of which I've said motivation letter, which in this case I didn't have to write anything separate. I just had to fill in a form. No, there was nothing strange. I think it was just the usual documents that is required for most scholarship applications.
I'm assuming for the transcripts, it's the certified one from university.
Yes. Transcripts. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. So your transcripts, what I did, I just had them stamped at my uni because I know there's other requirements later that might come with is it called legalization, especially when you're applying for visa. But in my case, I didn't have to do that for my academic papers. All I had to do was just have them stamped by the Registrar of Academic Affairs. Yeah, so and that was it. So you need to have them validated in quotes. Yeah, so you cannot just submit them as they are.
The structure of the program, because I know you've mentioned the specialization. Can you briefly take us through your course and then the specialization? When does that come in?
Specialization, you have to know from the word go, because when you're applying, you select what you want. Obviously, you'd have to look at the two. You have the curriculum on the website, so you know what schools offer. What are you going to learn in each of these universities?
Do you mind breaking it down for us in terms of the course you settled for and then the specialization so that we are able to picture the practicality of what someone is selecting?
For this program, they usually go for students with a background in geospatial, geography, computer science, any of those fields. And then in the first year, we all learn the same things. Like in the first year, we had a bit of some database systems, data modeling, remote sensing. It's a couple of courses that we all have to take those courses. But obviously, also the way they do things is a bit different. And like, say, JQuat, you're given a list of courses at the beginning of the semester and you all have to take the same courses. Here, you're given some courses. Well, we have the modules, the electives, which are not really compulsory. What you're told is you need to have this number of credits at the end of a semester. And each unit or each course has a number of credits. So we have the compulsory courses that everybody has to do those ones, and then we have those ones that you are free to choose whatever you want to do, and just ensure that at the end of it all you have the adequate number of credits to be able to graduate. So the first year, that is how it is. Also within the first year, we have summer schools. We had summer schools and we also had an internship. We had 2 summer schools, and then with the internship, you could do it as a part-time. If you're able to get one that would allow you, say, to work less hours, but you would have to work for a longer period, because ideally you just need 8 weeks of full-time to be able to get your credits. But if you're able to get an internship that would allow you to work on a part-time basis and for a longer period of time, even better, because I had a few of my classmates who were able to get internships. They started somewhere in February, and basically the entire second semester they were studying while working. And then for some of us, we only got the full-time internship, so we had to wait for summer to do the internship. You have that flexibility. Summer schools, I don't know how to explain summer school. It's let me try and remember what we had. So we had a week of intense training, sort of. It almost feels like conferences, because we had lectures, we had field work, and a mix of things. So and it was a week. It just took 7 days basically. Summer school. I think some people might have heard about them, or they may have attended some summer schools. And then now with the second year, so after summer you move. So there is that moving to the next country. So which is quite interesting, because lessons are learned in that period of moving. In my case, I moved to France end of August, because I was to start school the first Monday of September, and my internship ended on the last weekend of August. So I had 3 days to get everything, to be done with everything in my internship, and shift countries and settle in the new country and be able to attend the first class on Monday. Well, orientation, but yeah.
Oh, wow, that must have been intense. So, one of the advantages of the program is this mobility structure of the program where you get to go to different countries. Leila, is that fully sponsored still within the scholarship?
Yes, it is catered for. I guess it also depends on the consortia. For some people, I know before we came, we had to sort our own transport and everything coming to Austria. Then you're refunded your money. Some programs will prepare everything for you, just buy you a ticket and you travel. So it varies with different programs or different consortia. When it comes to moving to the next country, in my case, you're given the money that you would need to move to the next country. So they would evaluate how much would it cost to move from one country to the next. You're taken care of. So basically, the scholarship just is for you to study and not worry about where you are gonna live, what you're gonna eat.
Are there factors you can put as non-academic lessons you've learned from this program that would be pretty useful for guys?
Yes. Number one, you're very far from everyone that you know. You're moving to a country that you do not know anyone. It might take a toll on your mental health. New weather, new everything. It might take a while to get accustomed to everything, especially during the cold season. It can be a bit hard. So it needs a lot of mental grit. And then again, you get to interact with a diverse group of people from different parts of the world who think differently, who do things differently. So my challenge, what you know, and you have to unlearn and learn and relearn a few things. And then again, I think for me, the most important thing that I have learned is the grit, that you have to shut down the noises, shut down the distractions to be able to pursue your dreams, because there could be so many things to distract in terms of there's so much that is distracting here. So depending on what you want, you have to stay focused on your goals, walk your path, and not be distracted wanting to go because this person is going this way, I want to follow. Remain on the path that you set for yourself, because it can also get a bit overwhelming sometimes when you feel like you want to do everything, but you can't do everything. So yes, for me that has been the main lesson learned. And independence, and the thought that I could survive in this country, I could survive alone. I think anything is possible.
Yeah. How would you describe the learning experience? Because you've had two very different experiences, right? You had the JQuat experience, and then now you have this pretty new experience, right?
Well, if I compare my Jikwata experience and the experience, well, like in the two countries so far, I would say it's more practical on the side because I remember in my undergraduate, you would find there's a lot of theory you're gonna learn in your undergraduate, which I feel like, well, it's good because it introduces you to like some things, but I think learning is more efficient when you're able to do something. I don't know if you've seen people talk about some memes going around sometimes of math problems, and people are like, I want to say it in Swahili. I think sasa hii tutatumia wapi? You'd be surprised to see that some of the basic stuff that you were thinking this was never going to be applied anywhere, being applied in like things you never thought about. It's quite interesting that the way things are done here, you're made to think, you're made to like critical thinking. I feel like also we were not really spoon fed in our undergraduate. For us, I think we have the advantage also that we were never given everything in our undergraduate. So here you're also not given everything. So you're forced to go out of your way to get more knowledge outside of class because you need extra knowledge to apply some of the things you're taught in class. It may not just be sufficient. That extra push that you get here to like go out of your way to learn something extra is what I think has been different for me in comparison with my undergraduate and the more practical aspect of it.
When you're figuring out this journey and the courses you wanted to take within the different scholarships, right? The DAD that you tried, the Orange Knowledge Program, are there resources that were very useful for you that the audience might find useful that really came in handy when you're looking for these scholarship opportunities?
Yes, goodness. I remember, I think 2021, my YouTube algorithm was just all scholarship people. I don't even remember most of them, but there is this person called Victor Agboba or something. Let me see if I can still find him. He has a YouTube channel. Yeah, he's called Victor Agboga. I watched a lot of his videos. They were quite helpful in like how to prepare, how to write those application letters. That was the main one. I think he was always on my YouTube. Like, yeah. Yes. Of course, I'm gonna share more because it's been a while. It's been a while. So
I'll share them in the podcast description. And then there's one other thing I wanted us to do, Leila, just so we can have guys know some of the courses that are available within the Erasmus program. Guys, we went through the program. Leila is a master in the program and the courses that are there. So I went through the program and picked a couple of courses that really caught my attention. And then we wanted to compare sort of the courses that we both identified, if we have any common ones or different ones, and then you guys can go ahead and see if that's something you'd want to sort of look into or know what are some of the courses that are available within the program. Yeah, so Leila, do you have yours?
obviously, it's all the courses currently I'm taking here in France. So we have high performance computing, machine learning, deep learning, which basically I think is all under the category of machine learning. Under machine learning, we learn so many things, but the course itself is called machine learning. Then we have deep learning, high performance computing. These are separate courses, say separate classes here in France. And then in Salzburg, I enjoyed data modeling. Then we also had spatial analysis. We had to make story maps. It was quite interesting. Advanced remote sensing. I also enjoyed one of my favorite was also Java programming. Yeah. So we have some software development. Yeah, within the same program. But now it's called software development. The course is just called software development. Then within that you have Python, and you have Java. So it depends on what you want. So for me, I went for Java. So the course is distributed differently. So you'd find that one is offered in the summer semester, one is offered in the winter semester. So you plan yourself accordingly, depending on what you want. Because if you're gonna miss the winter semester, you're not gonna be able to cover it the next year because by that time you would be in the next country. So yeah, so my favorite was data modeling, software development, and spatial analysis. I liked making the story maps. We had a really cool professor. Yeah. So for me, it was the two that I applied. This one and geospatial technologies.
Nice. Those are very interesting choices. I like the classes you had within this course. My favorite within the ones you've mentioned is definitely the software development class. That sounds like it was a very fun class. So I'll read mine out. The first one that caught my attention was Masters of Science in Geospatial Technologies. There's one called Cartography, Mapping for Sustainable World. So I had that, and then this is a bit off. It's not really geospatial, but it's called Engineering of Data Intensive Intelligent Software Systems. So it was focused on like development, like software development and creating intelligent systems. And I was like, oh my god, I would also do this one. The other one that caught my attention was, I think it's the one you've said, the Geoinformation Science and Earth Observation for Environmental Modeling.
Yeah, same order for me.
I was looking at that and I was like, oh, I would also do this one. Two that were off, not really within the geospatial field, but I liked the content was Big Data and Management. There was a course called that. There was another one called Environmental Sciences, Policy and Management. Really caught my attention as well. So those are the ones I looked at and I was like, I like these programs.
There's quite a number of options to go for. But since you're limited to only apply for two, you go through each and every one of them and find the one that really aligns with your goals and apply for those two.
Anything you think we might have left out for someone who's trying to sort of find their path or figure out or know some things about Erasmus?
Yes. So the Erasmus Catalog, that is the best place to go. Get all the programs. So just search Erasmus Catalog. You're going to find all the programs in all disciplines. So it's not just partials. Take your time and go through and find what works for you. Obviously, I recommend my program.
Yeah, so your program was Copernicus Master in Digital Earth.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that was my number one.
Mm-hmm. If you're really interested, apply for cohort 2.
Yeah, now that closing off in December, 20th December, I just might. Is there anything else that comes to your mind in terms of what someone needs to know about this program?
I think we've basically covered everything.
So what we'll do, Leila, when you think of any link or resources that were useful, I'll definitely link Victor's YouTube page for guys to just look at resources they can look up. If you think of any other links, you can share them and then I'll just post them in the podcast description as well. I'm so happy we had you and we've had this conversation. I'm sure it will be very useful for people. I'm very grateful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I look forward to having more Africans or more Kenyans applying for the ECDE program. Because surprisingly, there are not usually so many, so it would be nice to have more apply.
Yeah, that would be good to have. Guys, so that's the end of the episode. Thank you so much, Leila. Let us know what you think of the episode. What other topics you'd want us to cover, especially when it comes to the studying abroad series, which is still running. We hope you learned a thing or two about the Erasmus program. We hope this sort of gives you psych to go look up the course catalog and the courses that are available within the Erasmus course catalog. I found the courses very insightful. Thank you so much, Leila, for taking us through the Erasmus program and your favorite classes as well. If you're listening to Spotify using your phone, there's a section that has a poll and a Q&A segment. Please feel comfortable or feel free to reach out to us within that questionnaire or within that poll section. We're more than happy to interact with you within that section as well and across social media. Until next time, bye.
Bye-bye.